Hey guys, it's Kyla. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about my Kindle and everything that has to do with one of my favorite things in the entire world, and I'm just so excited to talk about it. Today I'm going to be sharing a lot of Kindle Unlimited recommendations. I'm going to be sharing why I love my Kindle, why you should get one, and just all of the perks that having a Kindle has. But yeah, I have some great recommendations I'm super excited to share with you guys, and we're going to go ahead and just get started right on into the video. Let's first talk about what kind of Kindle I have and like why I love it and why you should get one. So I have I think 2021 Kindle Paperwhite. I do have the one with the ads, and I do not have a case on it. All I have is a pop socket. I kind of wish I would have put a case on it before I put on my pop socket so I could put like stickers under it, but honestly I kind of like just the sleek look of it. But a lot of people do put like the case with the stickers, and it is really cute. So if you're thinking about getting one, definitely get a case along with it. So this is just my Kindle. It needs to wake up, and then you swipe and it opens it up. I'm currently reading Once Upon a Broken Heart right now. Whenever you get on your Kindle, like this is your Kindle library, and you kind of just swipe up and you can see all of the books that are on your Kindle. Some of the books I have on my Kindle library I have bought, and other ones are from Libby, which I'll get into in just a minute, and then others are on Kindle Unlimited. But yeah, that is kind of how the Kindle is all set up. I will say if you do get a Kindle, you do not have to buy in Kindle Unlimited, and Kindle Unlimited is like a monthly subscription. It went from being $10 a month to $12 a month now, which I'm kind of ticked off about, but it's okay. It's fine. It's still worth it. Like honestly, the $12 a month is actually like so incredibly worth it. I love it because you have access to hundreds and thousands of books that are on Kindle Unlimited, and you can find almost any book that you want to read on there. And if the book that you want isn't on Kindle Unlimited, you can always buy it and it goes straight to your Kindle, or you can use this other app called Libby. Libby is like an app from your library. It basically has a whole bunch of audiobooks and Kindle books and all this kind of stuff on the app, and basically you just put in your library card information, and if your library has that book and you're able to read it on your Kindle, it allows you to do so. I seriously love this app, and I have so many books on my Kindle that are from Libby. If it's not on Kindle Unlimited, I always check Libby, and if it's not on Libby, then I just end up buying the book usually. Honestly, I find almost every single book that I want to read either on Kindle Unlimited or Libby. Libby is also free. Kindle Unlimited, as I said, you pay $12 a month for it, but it is so incredibly worth it. And with Kindle Unlimited, you don't have to wait for anything to be returned, but with Libby you do. Like if there's a hold on the book and it's like 2 weeks out, then you gotta wait the 2 weeks. Seriously love both of those, and just how it goes with your Kindle, like it just is one of the best things in the world. I seriously use my Kindle every single day. Like I always read before I go to bed, and having my Kindle and then like being able to sit there and like hold it, especially with the pop socket, so I don't have to like hold open a book if I'm falling asleep as I'm reading, is really nice. And just being able to carry it around so easily, like it fits in my little fanny pack thing that I have, it fits in every single purse that I have, and I'm always bringing it with me. My emotional support Kindle. That is exactly what this is. And I know a lot of people joke about that, like, oh, like that's my emotional support Kindle, I can't go anywhere without it. But like, no, genuinely, I don't go anywhere without it. Like I go to work with it. I brought it to every single wedding that I've been to in the past year, which has been 3. I bring it whenever I'm traveling just because it's so easy to carry, and it's not weighing down my bag like a book does. So that way I can bring this and just be reading while I'm on my trip, but I can bring back books because I leave it in my suitcase for it. If you're considering buying a Kindle, I definitely recommend it. You just have so many options of how you can read. Like if you don't want to pay for Kindle Unlimited, there's always Libby. If you do want to pay for Kindle Unlimited, then it's basically a free book like every single month, because like a regular book off of Amazon or anywhere, or even the bookstore, is going to be like $16 and up, and you're only paying $12.99 to access thousands of books at once, and you don't have to pay that for each book. Like you pay it once a month, and then you can read as many books as you want to. That's why it's unlimited, you know what I mean? It's like an unlimited buffet, but that's actually good. But yeah, that is all about my Kindle. That is why I love it. That is why you should get one. And if you haven't already put it in your Amazon cart yet, then what are you doing? Go ahead and buy one. But we're going to get into all of the Kindle Unlimited recommendations I have. If you're looking for some Kindle Unlimited recs, if you want more of them, but if you want more of a reason to buy a Kindle and why it's worth it, and just how much money you can save, let's just get right on into the recommendations. I don't know if any of that what I just said made sense, but I hope that you get it. So I have 2 sections of how I split up these recommendations. I have a fantasy section, and then I also have a romance section. These fantasy recommendations of course have romance in them, but it's for my fantasy girlies who are looking for that. And I have my regular romance for the girlies who don't read a fantasy and just want a good old romance. So the first book that I have is a part of a 5-book series by Melissa Roweridge, and that is the Lady of Darkness series. This book series is seriously one of my favorites that I read throughout this entire year. I've only read the first 2, but I'm definitely gonna finish the book series before the end of the year, at least. Hopefully, really hope so. This book is about this girl named Scarlett Monroe. She and her 2 sisters are under this assassin lord. They basically work for him, and one day the assassin lord goes to Scarlett and is like, okay, I'm giving you another job to do. And she's like really excited to do this job because it's basically she has to assassinate the Fire Prince, and the Fire Prince kind of like hurt her mom or killed her mom, I believe, or something like that. But she has to sacrifice a lot to be able to do so, and she's kind of thinking, okay, is it really worth it to end up doing that, because I don't want to sacrifice the people that I love. I don't want to sacrifice what I've worked hard to kind of get away from. So she's having a really hard time to decide that. But then some other things start to happen. Old friends start to reappear. People start getting kidnapped, and she has to either basically do what the assassin lord told her to do or kind of go her own way. And the way that this book is set up, like, you don't know what's going on at all during it, but it's like one of the best things in the entire world, because you're just sitting there, you're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? Like, who is this person? What's going on? And you're like, there's so many secrets that you as a reader, you know that there are secrets, but you don't know exactly what those secrets are yet. I really like the way this book was written. I really love this series. I love the second book to this series. It's nothing like ACOTAR, but like it gave me that same feeling that I read whenever I read ACOTAR for the first time, and like it was just so good. Like, I can't really explain it. Like, it was just so good, and it was so entertaining, and just the way it was written was amazing. Definitely put this at the top of your TBR and get to it soon because it's just so good. So the next one is the Dance of Thieves duology by Mary E. Pearson. This duology is finally on Kindle Unlimited. I love this duology. It's basically like a cat and mouse kind of game of this girl who's like a thief, and she goes to this other kingdom to like steal something or whatever, and she meets this prince, and it's an enemies to lovers but also forced proximity enemies to lovers, which was just so amazing to read. And so this book ends off on a really big cliffhanger, and then you pick up in the next book immediately where you're at, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? It was so good, and it's finally on Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, this is also like one of like the OG book talk books. I loved it. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but like some of these books I have not read yet, but I know that they're on Kindle Unlimited, and I know that a lot of people love them. Throwing that in there real quick. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning, but I'm mentioning it now. And the next book is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. This is basically of this girl named Laura who goes out into this other kingdom. She's sent there as a spy to kind of uncover secrets and to kind of take down this kingdom from the inside out. And she's sent there as a spy, but also like as a bride to this king, prince type person to be able to take them out from the inside out. And while she's there, she uncovers a lot of secrets and a lot of truths that were not told to her. And then of course there's like a romance between the two. This is one of the books I have not read, but it's definitely on my TBR because I want to read it so bad. I've just been hearing so many people rave about it, and so I'm like, I really need to get on that. This book is another one of those enemies to lovers, forced proximity, secretive, a lot just going on that is just amazing. Alright, and the next one is An Heir Comes to Rise by Chloe Penrodan. I don't know. And this one is another one of those assassin with fae type books and like mythical creatures. I know a lot of people say that this is like comparable to like Throne of Glass and The Red Queen, so if you like either of those books, then you definitely would love this one. This one is also, from what I understand from reading like the blurb, it's like a love triangle as well between like her and like a childhood best friend, and also like an enemies to lovers type of thing. So I'm one of those people who also does love triangles. This is also another one that is on my TBR that I have not read, but I've been seeing it like all over, like on my recommendations, and I'm like, okay, definitely need to get to it just because it looks so good. And the next one I have is the Crave series by Tracy Wolff. I don't think that the 6th book of the series is on Kindle Unlimited yet, but the 5 others are. This book is basically the Vampire Diaries, Twilight, and the Legacies mixed all into one thing, and the author Tracy Wolff definitely references those 3 like movies and TV shows in the book, which I think is really funny. But this girl from San Diego, her parents die and she has to move up to Alaska to live with her uncle and her cousin, and her uncle is this principal of this like boarding school for the supernatural, but she has no idea what the supernatural is, and they're thinking, oh, we can get away with not telling her anything about the supernatural while she's at the school of supernatural creatures. Tell me how that makes sense, because it doesn't. But the book is like so bad that it's good. It's one of those like I can't stop reading it, but it's also like ridiculous the entire time. It's honestly one of my favorite book series, and just like you as a reader, you know like all the secrets that are being kept, but the main character has no idea, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And you're kind of sitting there and you're like, girl, it's right in front of your face. Why don't you get this? Yeah, if you're looking for like one of those book series that's so bad that it's good, definitely pick up the Crave series. It's the definition of it, I promise. And then the last two I'm going to talk about are from the same exact author, which is Carissa Broadbent, and it's her book series, A Daughter of No World and The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. I don't know what either of these books are about. I know that one of them is like a Hunger Games, but with like supernatural kind of competing for something, and I know the other one is like a vampire one. I don't really know much about these two books, but I know a lot of people are raving about her book series, and if you don't know, they're on Kindle Unlimited, all of them. So look up these two. I don't know anything about them, I'm sorry, but yeah. So those are all of my fantasy recommendations. Now we're gonna get into all of my romance recommendations. I definitely have a lot more of these just because like this year I really started to read fantasy, so I am a little behind, but these books are so good. Alright, so the first ones I'm going to talk about is Consider Me and Play With Me by Becca Mack. These are both hockey romances. These books are literally so good. I don't remember the tropes of them, but just their hockey romance, and like, don't think Elle Kennedy hockey romance. Like, these books are so much better than both of those. I think one of them is a brother's best friend, and then the other one is like a just kind of friends to lovers type book. If you're looking for a good, like actually good hockey romance, definitely pick up these two books. They're amazing. I love them so much. So the next one for our romance section is going to be the Lancaster Prep series by Monica Murphy. There are 4 books to the series, but I'm going to hold up the second book, which is my favorite, and that is A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. Actually, this one is not my favorite. I think the third one, which is Promises You Meant to Keep, or Promises, something Promises, like that one is my favorite one, but I do own this one before I knew that it was like actually a series. And each book you get like a different couple, and all of them have to do with a family member, like a sibling of the Lancasters, and the Lancasters are the ones that own the Lancaster Prep School, like their parents. I know the first one is a very big bully romance. I couldn't even get through the first one. The second one is kind of like a bad boy good girl trope. The third one is a second chance romance, and then the fourth one is kind of like It's Always Been You trope, like kind of a second chance. But yeah, I do love the series. They're very entertaining and like not serious at all. So yeah, Monica Murphy is such a great author. She also has a new football romance series that is out on Kindle Unlimited as well. So definitely check out her. Check out all of her books. Pick your favorite and just start reading. And the next one is a 4-to-be-5 book series that I had to talk about. Like I had to. I couldn't stop myself. And that is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. This is a cowboy romance. Oh my gosh, guys. So we have Flawless, which is the first one. This is a like rivals to lovers kind of ish. Then you have Heartless, which is a friends to lovers. She's like the live-in nanny to this guy, which is like her best friend's boyfriend's brother. And then you have Powerless, which is a very big friends to lovers. And you have Reckless, which is a pregnancy trope. I have not read the fourth one, which is Reckless, but I've heard only great and amazing things about it. And yeah, I had to put the series on here. It's on Kindle Limited. This summer is a cowboy romance summer, if you have not heard. So yeah, I had to mention these because they're just so good and you have to pick them up. Like, I'm telling you that you have to because they're so good. And speaking of cowboy romances, I do have another one, and that is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This book is so freaking good. This one is a second chance romance. They live on a ranch. She tried to go to a big city but just always came back to her ranch in her hometown. Starts to love these small town kind of vibes, and it's also brother's best friend, which if you don't know, that is one of my favorite tropes of the entire world. This book was so good. I literally need to buy this book, like to own it physically, because it was so amazing. I loved it so incredibly much. It's another cowboy romance. Another ranch romance. Oh my gosh. It was so good. Okay. So the next one I have is another series. This is like for my dark romance girls who like mafia type books. And this is a Dark Fear series by Runix. I do own the first 3, but the first 2 are kind of like a duology. They go along with one another and they follow the same exact couple, while the other books don't. And that is The Predator, and then you have The Reaper. This follows Tristan and Morana. Tristan and Morana are very big enemies to lovers. They come from 2 different mafia families who are supposed to hate each other, but they have to team up and kind of take down the overarching villain of this story, which, like, as I said, the dog is barking and I'm so sorry. But as I said, the first 2 books of the series are like a duology, so you're following the same storyline, and then once you get into 3rd book, it's a different storyline, and I believe also like different characters. I haven't read past the first 2 yet, but I've only heard amazing things about the series, and I know that she just finished wrapping up the series like last year. So yeah, very good mafia romance. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not that big of a mafia romance type of girl. I really enjoyed the series and I really loved it, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, as I said, which you should definitely look into. Alright, and the second to last one that I'm going to talk about is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is obviously another hockey romance. She is a figure skater and he is a hockey player. So you have Anastasia and Nate, and Anastasia's figure skating partner has to kind of sit out, and they have a really big competition coming up soon. So Nate from the hockey team steps in and is like, okay, I'm going to be like your partner. So they start a little romance, and it's also a grumpy sunshine but in reverse, like she's grumpy and he's sunshine, which I absolutely love that trope so much. It brings me so much joy. And it also does not have a third act breakup. Like, it's the exact opposite of a miscommunication trope. Like, this is communication definition for a book. I loved it so much, and if you have not read it yet, definitely read it. And the last book that I'm going to talk about today is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. This book literally brings me to tears. This book is so sad, but it's also so good at the same exact time. This follows Autumn. You're like in the head of her as she's growing up and going from middle school to high school and throughout high school, and then you also meet her childhood best friend, who is Finn, and you get to kind of see them be super close and then start to grow apart once they get to high school, and just the differences in their personality and just what happens to them. And if you heard anything about this book, you already know what happens, but like, it's so good. Like, you have to read it. I'm not even going to attempt to pick up this stack of books that I have right here. Should I? Let's shop. Oh, nope. Can't do it. I literally was gonna try, and I was like, no, actually, I don't want to do that. So yeah, so those are all of the Kindle recommendations I have for you guys today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe right down below, and if you guys want more Kindle recommendations, please let me know. I will definitely do those in the future. I really hope this video was helpful for you to decide if you should buy a Kindle or not, and you definitely should. That is the answer, if you are wondering. But yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed, found some new books to read, and I will definitely see you all in my next video. I love you all, and peace out.